What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Jonald, and it's a Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for a one-off. I try to be quiet because I'm so used to living in buildings with other people, like neighbors who don't know what I'm doing. But now I'm in like an actual house, so technically I could yell as loud as I want. But then, at the same time, even though I say I could yell now, all going well in the next like 3 months, I'm gonna have a small human, like, a little tiny baby human. And then I can't yell as loud as I want. So I think I'm just gonna keep doing like the quiet, like muffled. I digress. Anyway, thanks for coming back. I'm continuing as I did with this project I started last week. I'm going to give a few more details. Someone I talked to said I should try doing a series that like I continued a full story out. And I was really struggling for ideas last week, but I thought of one that I'd been sitting on that is too short to be its own full book, but too long to be just one-off. I think I might get 10 episodes out of it. I'm not certain. We'll see how it goes. The pacing as of today, again, I'm trying to figure out, I generally like to write longer, but also if I don't have ideas, I can't write enough. And there's something to be said of, hey, if you don't have an idea, just write the ideas that you have and make it good. So we'll see how long the writing goes. This is going to be a long continued project. And then all of that being said, I actually really enjoyed kind of what the first chapter I was fine with. I was trying to get something out to get myself back in the schedule. Today, I'm much more thrilled with what I wrote. Not going to say it's perfect. If I ever want to compile it and try sending it out as a book, I will get an editor. I will go through. I will do multiple drafts. So consider this like a first draft book, right? Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, here's chapter 2. I call it Calvin because of the character, but I don't know what I'm going to title the whole book. I'm eventually going to put them into like a playlist, and I'll figure out what I want the playlist to be called then. But for the time being, enjoy chapter 2. Chapter 2. Calvin. Ah! Harold screamed. He jumped back, raising his fists. The guy in his bed gave a confused look and swung up. He didn't seem to be wearing anything, so he pulled the blankets up to cover his waist. Mom, what's going on? The other Harold asked. Harold? What's going on? She replied. I don't know, both Harolds said at the same time. Hey, you're not Harold. I am, Harold accused. Yes, I am. Well, then prove it. How am I supposed to do that? Harold had to think for a moment. Movies and shows made this scenario look so much easier. Well, what's the last calligraphy piece you worked on? Easy, the other Harold said. Haru. Nope, Harold snapped. He's lying. Harold trailed off. That was a piece he'd worked on early in the week. Well, I'll think of a better question. Where did we go for our secret trip when your dad was out for work? Harold's mom asked. To the beach, Santa Cruz specifically, other Harold said. Harold and his mom nodded. It was true. Okay then, Harold said, playing off a hunch. What do you remember last? Well, the other started. Last night was Sunday, so I worked on the Haru piece for a moment before getting to bed early. Should be on the top of the desk to dry. Just as I thought, Harold said. Is that what you did on Sunday night? His mom asked. Yeah. What song did we listen to as we wrote? Haircut, the other one said. To the detail, Harold confirmed for his mom. So then this is some kind of clone? How am I supposed to know? Harold snorted. I think no one in this room understands what's going on. I second that opinion, the other said. Harold's mom closed her eyes. She pinched her arm. Ow! She opened her eyes. Still real. I'm gonna go sit down. She moved out of the doorway and down the hall. Harold stayed in the doorway, looking confused at his clone, or twin, or doppelganger. What day is it now? The twin asked. Friday, Harold answered. Whatever weird thing happened to you, it missed the last few days. So then I'm not the real Harold? Or I am a real Harold, but not this timeline's Harold? I don't know if it has anything to do with timelines, but I guess. When I woke up today, I was the only Harold in my bed. Weird, the twin said. Well, does that mean you're gonna try making me go to school for you? I wouldn't mind, Harold said, thinking about Samantha. But no, I have a test today based off information you missed from this week. Can't have you failing a test for me. All right then, Harold, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. How are you so calm about this? The twin shrugged. I don't really know. This is freaky, but since I can tell this isn't a dream, I figure I might as well roll with it. Assuming you aren't lying to me, but honestly, you're me, and we don't lie. Harold shrugged back. It was true. He didn't have a lying bone in his body. He never understood the point of lying. It just made things harder in the long run. Well, then, excuse me, Harold? I need to get ready for school. They looked at each other for a long, awkward moment. At the same time, they blurted out, we need different names. Yeah, the twins started, but first, who gets to be Harold? I assumed me, Harold said. If your assumption is right and I'm Harold Prime, then I'd like to keep the name if that's all the same to you. The twin looked thoughtfully around the room. After a quiet moment, he nodded. Yeah, you're definitely Harold. I did not leave my room like this last night. All right, that's settled. So then, what name do you want to be called? How about Goku? The twin responded with a big grin. No, too ridiculous. Aragon? Too nerdy. Aragorn? How is that less nerdy? LeBron? I guess, but aren't we a little too... He trailed off to look pointedly at his own pale skin. You're right, the twin chuckled. That one was a joke. What about Arlo? It has most of the letters as Harold. No, too similar with the basic sounds. Harold, Arlo. Then maybe just a good, normal name. How about Jonald? Harold laughed. What kind of moronic name is Jonald? You know, the twin said with a sly smile. It's like Donald, but with a J. I don't think you get to name yourself, Harold said. Well then, you give me ideas. Harold thought for a long moment before a mischievous smile curled up his lips. Kirito. Dude, not helpful. Sorry, I know. The pair went quiet, both running through name options. Harold scanned the bookshelf with his eyes, searching for inspiration. Garfield? He piped up, seeing the comic on his shelves. No, the twin answered. If I'm going to be named after a cartoon cat, I want Hobbs. Both their heads snapped up and gazes locked. Calvin! Harold finished getting ready and went down to the dining room where his mom was still sitting in shock. Is the other Harold still here? She asked. Yeah, Calvin's in our room. So you named him Calvin? We came up with it together, Harold explained. Anyways, it's 7:30. I need to leave for school. He gave his mom a big hug. She clung to him tightly. How do I know that you're, you? Harold pursed his lips. There wasn't any difference between the two. An idea jumped into the forefront of his mind. You could ask Calvin, but he doesn't remember anything from this week. So ask me what was for dinner on Tuesday. His mom made a face. What was dinner on Tuesday? She said hesitantly. Shepherd's pie, Harold answered. You were trying a new recipe and it was way too salty and runny. Hey, you said it wasn't that bad, she complained. And you said it was too salty and runny. I'm literally quoting you. Yeah, well, I made it. I get to criticize it. Anyways, if you're ever uncertain, the keyword is shepherd. I won't tell Calvin. Seriously, go question him. You'll see I'm right. Harold's mom looked back, eyes uncertain. If you say so. Harold gave her another quick hug before turning to leave. Harold, she called out. He stopped and looked back. Don't tell anyone about this until we've had time to talk to your father. I don't know what we're going to do about Calvin if he's still here. Enroll him in school, I think. Harold, it's not that simple. Is he even technically a U.S. citizen? Oh, yeah. I hadn't thought about all the legal trouble this is going to be. So just don't say anything until I've talked to your father. Harold nodded and left for school. Harold sat quietly in Mr. Smith's room, waiting for school to start. He was so engrossed with his thoughts on Calvin that he didn't notice Samantha. "How's it going, Harold?" Samantha asked, coming in and sitting down next to him. He bit his lip, trying to think of a good answer. Thoughts of her and the guy, as well as Calvin, warred in his mind. "Oh, average. I made a cool piece last night, but I misplaced it, so I'll have to show you later. What about you?" "My cousins just got into town, so now our house is packed." "Your cousins?" Harold said, sitting up a bit. "Yeah, I don't think I told you. It's fall break for my cousins in Texas. They decided to road trip out to visit." "Oh, that's cool," Harold said, trying to hide the hope in his voice and expression. "So, have you guys done anything fun yet?" "I took my cousin Jaron to see downtown. The other kids are too young and annoying, so we left them at home." Harold's fist clenched as he held back a triumphant whoop. "If you want," Samantha continued, "we're free most of the weekend." "I'd love to..." Harold stopped abruptly. "I think I have plans." "That was weird. Didn't you have some kind of surprise party planned?" "What? No, why would you say that?" Just the way you stopped," Samantha said. "Like there's something you're not supposed to tell me." "Well, it's not that," Harold said. "Just complicated family stuff. I'll tell you as soon as I can." And we're back. Yeah, so as you read, I got into the beginning of the unraveling the mystery, quote unquote. First things, with this story, am really kind of inspired by Makoto Shinkai. He is the director for the movies Your Name, Weathering with You, and Suzume. He's done more. I could name off a few more, but those are the main ones that I've seen and enjoy. With that, he does a lot of kind of this mundane magic is what I would call it, where it's not spectacular necessarily. It's just a very something magical happens and then you just live with it. You just live around it. You figure out what's going on and then you live life. And that's kind of what I want to write with this story, is a very mundane magic. So this is the beginning when it's still magical, when they're still not understanding and they're trying to figure things out. So I really enjoyed that. I love the scene of them trying to pick a name for Calvin because they're teenage boys. They're 17. Of course, they're going to go for things like Goku, Kirito, Aragorn. Some of this is inspired off of me. Obviously, you write what you know. And so some of the names like Aragon, as a kid, I would be like, oh, that'd be such a cool name. I don't now. Don't worry. With the kid that's coming, we're not going to name the child Kirito. I'm not that dumb. Threw in a fun little self jab because it was entertaining. But at the end of the day, it was just an entertaining scene and I liked it. And now that I've got the ball rolling, I see where I want to go more. And so I'm more excited to continue this project in the future than I was a week ago when I thought, oh, I just started this thing and now it's not going to be as good as I want. No, it's going to be good. Please keep coming back. I'm very excited. That being said, scheduling stuff, I might intersperse this with some other special video formats. I'm still working on trying to get one of those out. If I do, that will be the only thing I interrupt with, unless I get some other cool ideas. I did think of a really interesting magic system earlier this week, so that might be coming down the pipeline. But I'm trying to stay focused to keep one consistent thing so that people can come and understand and then get back to the rest of the one-offs. So probably the next, give or take 9 weeks, will be the same-ish project. Again, there might be some changes. I do kind of want to get this project finished before the baby is born because that's a great way for me to potentially get really sidetracked. I'm hoping to not do that, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, listening, paying attention, and I will see you guys next week. Anyway, neat. Okay, bye.